Morning, everybody. Ben Cooper, General Manager with Rainbow Tree Care. So I'd like to answer one of our Ask the Arborist questions from our State Fair Facebook event this year. So we've had a number of questions related to the record-breaking drought that our urban forest has faced here in the year of 2021. Trees will be impacted and have been impacted by this extraordinarily dry period, whether it's a young tree, whether it's a mature tree. Trees are definitely impacted, especially if there's been a lack of irrigation going on in your yard. So trees can be impacted more immediately, and symptoms can show up quickly, within days, within months sometimes. But others are much more long-term and can actually take years before those symptoms might show up. Symptoms of drought stress can show up in wilting leaves, typically in more newly planted trees, where the roots haven't been established yet. Although with more established trees, you can see this impact of wilt, and that's pretty straightforward. You see wilting leaves and you add some water. A couple other ways that drought can show up is early fall color. So there were a number of trees impacted by an issue called stem girdling roots, where the roots actually constrain the water and starch translocation in the tree, and will actually show up in early fall color and oftentimes early leaf drop. So we are starting to see that. And then also up to branch canopy death. So again, with longer term impacts of drought stress, we can see canopy death typically showing up because of an insect or a disease issue that may have come in after this primary issue of drought stress. So the question would be then, as a homeowner and a tree owner, what can I do to impact the health of my trees now? Well, first and foremost, good watering practices is the primary recommendation that arborists would have to take care of your trees. So regardless of the age of the tree, so this goes from your newly planted tree that you just put in the summer, all the way up to if you're lucky enough to have a mature oak tree in your yard that's 150 to 200 years old, all trees need a healthy amount of water. And you should really water your trees up until ground freeze. So oftentimes people don't think about this, but over the course of the winter, trees can get dried out very much just from the dry air. Dries out the air and ultimately dries out your tree and the roots. A couple other things that you can do, and I would suggest, is mulching. So mulching under the drip line of the tree. Putting down a nice layer of 3 to 6 inches of good mulch will hold in moisture and also just benefit the overall soil health of the tree. So again, in summary, absolutely, this year's drought is record-breaking. We haven't seen anything like this since the 80s. We've had some moisture now, which does makes the yard green up pretty quick, but have to remember that the trees don't get replenished quite as quickly. So water those trees, mulch those trees, have an arborist out to assess them to make sure that there's no longer term implications of this drought stress. Thank you very much, and hopefully this answered everybody's question.